welcome to another Turtleside chat. We're so glad you're with us. I'm your Shaliach, Yahweh Shaliach, Apostle Moshe Yosef Kunyachowski, and we're coming to you live. That's right, we're coming to you live from the studios of Goshen B'Tzafon. What a blessing to have you here with us. We'll be with you for the next whatever. We want to finish part 3 today. Trying to get the lighting a little better for you guys. There you go. So now we want to finish part 3 today of this very important message, the Church of the Moon. And basically, all Bible believers, whether they're in the church, whether they're in the Messianic movement, whether they're in the Nazarene Israelite movement, are basically part of the Church of the Moon. Now, most of them want to please Yahweh. And most folks want to do right by Yahweh. They're not there because they want to be there. They're there because they have been misled or deceived. And so we want to get rid of some of that deception to show you that all the days, weeks, months, and years of Yahuwah, according to Torah, confirmed by the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees, are determined by the sun. And so it's very important that we see these things and we learn these things. I want to address head on some of the verses that are commonly used to keep people, even though they're born again, saved, and they want to keep the times of Yahweh, they're not all the way out because they don't have the counsel and the guidance and the assistance to come all the way out. So we're here to help you as much as we can come all the way out. And then to show you how these verses are not really what they're taught to me. Okay? So we're blessed here at Goshen B'Tzafon. We have our sister Mariami. She returned last night from Texas. And then we have so many exciting things coming up. The Restoration Scriptures, of course, True Name Edition now with Enoch. That could be ordered directly from our printer and distributor. You just go right to Book Baby. Don't worry, when we send you to Book Baby, that's us, okay? They do our printing, they do our distributing, and they do our shipping. So you want to make sure that you have the best translation that will help you understand all the things that are being restored to Israel. Very important that you reserve your copy, okay? And they usually fill orders in 5 to 7 days. So they're pretty good about filling the orders. So we welcome you again. We're so glad to have reinstituted these Turtleside chats. We believe that they're beneficial, and I love this program again that we got that is enabling me to put the scriptures and the other things up on the screen, so that you guys can see these things. Okay. We could do it live. We could do Facebook Live, but the problem with that is we don't have these tools on the screen that this program allows us to have. Don't forget to share these Turtleside chats with all your friends and family. So people say, well, what about the moon verses? Doesn't that prove that the moon are from Moadim? Let's go to Tehillim, Psalm 89, verse 7. We're starting today again, probably the final part of the Church of the Moon. The Church of the Moon. So you're coming out of Babylon, you want to make sure you come all the way out. You don't want to leave one toe or one foot or one pinky, okay, in Babylon. You don't want to be deceived in any way. We learned last week there are many witnesses. In the last Turtleside chat, many, many, many witnesses in the Torah that we are to use the greater light, the sun, and then the lesser light, collectively the stars that rule the night. Okay, we learned that. And so we know the moon is not a light. But what about those tricky verses? Like, for instance, people will throw these at you, and we need to have an answer. Because like Shimon Kifa says, be ready to have an answer for every man for the reason of the hope that lies within you. Okay, so we need to have a testimony of Yahusha in terms of being ready to give to every man an answer of why we know he's Mashiach and the risen Messiah, and he lives, and he is eternal Yahuwah. But in addition, we need to have answers for the way we live as Israel and the way we practice our lifestyle as believers. So first, there's a testimony of salvation, and then there's a lifestyle of believers. And then we need to have a witness and an answer for every man or every woman who asks us for the reason of the hope. So we see in Psalm 89, verse 37, it says, it shall be established, Leolam Vaed, as the Areah, as a faithful witness in the Shamayim, Selah. So it, something, we don't know what, something, it, shall be established forever, Leolam Vaed, as the Yareah, as the moon, is a faithful witness in the Shamayim. So it says, it appears to say that the moon, the Yareach, is a faithful witness. Yes and no. You cannot assume, as most of the religious world does, that the moon is a faithful witness of time. Because we know the lunar year technically is 28 days in the lunation. So we have 12 times 28. I have to put this here just to get some. 12 times 28, 336 days in a lunar year. I'll say that again, because most people think it's 354. It's actually 336, which is way short, okay? You got 364 minus, oh, these are good stretching exercises. This is about a 28-day difference. Now, religion says that there are 29 or 30 days in a lunation, which is not true. But even if it were, that's 354. So it's still 11 days short or 10 days short. Okay? So they don't match. You're going to have to choose. You can't add a 13th month by taking 2 verses in Ezekiel 1, 2 verses in Ezekiel 4, copying and pasting them and saying, voila, I found the 13th month. It's like me taking a scripture about Judas, where Yahusha chooses Yehuda, Ishkariot, all right? And where Yahusha says, I have chosen you, and follow me, and then talks about Judas, who hung himself. And then Yahusha says, for instance, in Luke chapter 10, then be a good Samaritan to the one who fell among thieves. Go do likewise. Who is his neighbor? The one who took care of him and healed his wounds. And then Yahusha says, then go and do likewise. So we can take that verse, paste it to Judas. Judas hung himself, go and do likewise, and copy and paste it. That's how people come up with, to justify their Hellenistic tendencies. Because what the Jews and the Messianic movement does today in terms of following times on paper based on new moon sightings, which is completely subjective. Because you need witnesses. One person sees this, one person sees another. One person sees the moon. One person doesn't see the moon. 2 people do see the moon, but they don't see the same thing. It's completely subjective. We need to rearrange our thinking Yahweh's way, and we need to come out of the church of the moon. Because this is not the way Yahusha or his Talmidim lived. So it is faithful, but it is a far stretch to assume that the Areah, or the moon, is a faithful witness of time. When Scripture and Little Torah, Yovlim, plus Enoch tell us clearly, and even nature tells us that the lunar calendar does not match the solar calendar. And you cannot make a solar lunar calendar because that violates the Torah of Kelaim. Kelaim is mixing of seed. Mixing. You shall not sow your field with mixed seed. You shall not work your field with mixed animals. You shall not mix linen and wool. You shall not mix the righteous with the unrighteous. You shall not mix the tahor with the tamai, the pure with the impure. We are kadosh. We don't live and behave like the world. Once we get saved, we run from the practices and the behaviors of the world. So to compose a solar lunar calendar and to call it biblical or Jewish is 100% wrong, because it was adopted hook, line, and sinker from the Hellenists who were the Jews who betrayed Israel and went over to Antiochus Epiphanes and went over to the Greek practices at the time that the temple and the altar were defiled when it was restored during the celebration of the Feast of Rededication, and the enemies of Israel were overthrown. That's when the lunar calendar started being fully introduced. When the Jewish people were in Babylon, they began to practice and to syncretize the lunar times with the solar times. But it was that apostasy found its way completely into the people of Israel through the Hellenization of those Jews who copied the ways of Antiochus Epiphanes, who made it a rule and made it an ordinance, who made it a law, okay, that everyone had to follow the moon. That was a rule, a law, that in order to determine times and pull the Jewish people away from the ways of Moshe and Torah, that they had to adopt the decree of Antiochus Epiphanes. So yes, that began in Babylon, but it continued to proliferate, that error. Now, if we look in verse 89, verse 36, it is David's seed that is made a faithful witness, preserved in the heavens. Okay? Because if we jump back one verse, okay, it says David's seed is a faithful witness preserved in the heavens, or his throne. Just like the moon is in the heavens forever, so the heavens is the place of preserving of the faithful witness, or Yahuwah's throne, his promises to the house of David and to the throne of David, by his word forever. This verse does not claim that the moon is forever, faithfully telling time, as it's out of whack with the sun. And it's out of whack with Torah time, the Torah time that we found outlined in the days of Noah or other days in Scripture. It doesn't match. The math doesn't line up. The moon remains sick and dysfunctional, giving us a astronomical lunation of 28 days, but in religion, they stretch it out to 29 or 30 days, which does not exist. They try to make it a little bit closer to the true solar time, and adding an unbiblical 13th month, which if blindly followed, will cause everyone listening that is not willing to come out of the church of the moon to miss the true appointed times of Yahuwah. And we can see that verse 36 explains verse 37. If you don't allow Psalm 89, verse 36, okay, let's go there and make sure we have it right. To explain the next verse, then you're just guessing. And you can make Scripture say anything, as I said earlier, you can make Scripture say anything you want it to say. Okay? Look. This is the benefit of using this program. See? We could come to you live, but these Turtleside chats, when we can do it this way, you can go over it, you can study it. It's a pleasure. Let me get myself out of the way there. Bye. Time out, coffee break. Ooh. I'll tell you, I don't know how people function without coffee in the morning. Honestly. Can you imagine? There's nothing like coffee. And it's healthy, too. It cleanses your system. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. So he goes to verse 34. He says, I will not lie. What goes out of my lips? We're reading in Psalm Tehillim 89:34. I will not lie, number 1. Verse 35, number 2, I have sworn by myself. I have sworn by my Kedushah, by my holiness. Number 3, number 4, I will not lie, etc., etc. Yahweh is talking in the first person, and he's not playing games. He's Kadosh, he's set apart, he's holy, and he's not lying. Like man lies, okay? Starting in Babylon and then Antiochus Epiphanes, until all of us follow blindly something we're told. Verse 36, his seed will live forever. His throne like the sun before me, okay? So the sun will never leave the sky. The same way the sun, or the Shemesh, verse 36, the same way the Shemesh will never leave the sky, the throne of David and the seed of David will endure forever. Period. This has nothing to do with the moon. Verse 37, the throne of David, the seed of David, I'll say that again, the throne of David, the seed of David, will be established forever as the moon. So, The moon is forever and the sun is forever. So it is with David's throne. It doesn't mean the moon is a faithful witness on how to tell biblical time. Look, as a faithful witness, right here, look, as a faithful witness in the Shamayim. Wow, I just found an error. It's supposed to be an S there. You see that? So the moon is a faithful witness in heaven. Verse 36, the sun is a faithful witness in heaven. Verse 35 and 34 tell you the sun and the moon are dual witnesses. They will never disappear. There's no need of the sun and the moon in the Atid Lavo, in the millennial kingdom, but they're still there. There's no need for it because Yahusha, Adon Yahusha, is the light and the lamp thereof. Can I get a witness? Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. So if you see the sun and the moon, it's not Yahuwah saying this is how you tell time. It's Yahuwah saying David's seed and David's throne, just like the sun and the moon are in my presence in the heavens, they are a faithful witness to the eternality of David's throne. Let me say that again. The moon, verse 37, is a faithful witness to the eternality of David's throne. Let me say that again. The moon is a faithful witness to the eternality of David's throne. Now, where you get the authority or the permission to say that that is a faithful witness to time, you willfully are following someone who's twisting the scriptures, or you're twisting the scriptures yourself. And you don't want to be doing either. You want to let the word do the talking, because Yahweh is not a liar. He's not telling you that the moon and the sun are witnesses of the perfect clock, that somehow you got to figure out how to syncretize the sun and the moon, even though there are different days in a solar and lunar year. He's not telling you that. Just the opposite. It's a completely different subject. Now let's go to Psalm 136, verse 9. The Yareach, the moon, and the Kochavim, collectively, the stars, rule the night. For his Rachamim endures Leolam Vaed. Okay? So we see in Psalm Tehillim 136, verse 9, that the moon cannot rule the night. As we learned earlier in our past Turtleside chat, it says that he made the sun to rule the day and the moon and the stars, namely the stars, to rule the night. Okay? So he made the stars to rule the night. Now, obviously, the moon is there sometimes. Sometimes the moon shines. Sometimes the moon doesn't shine. Okay, so the Yareach, isolated and alone, or right now you should be in the scriptures with us, in Tehillim, Psalm 136, verse 9. It doesn't say that the moon rules the night. You can't say the lesser light, like religion has taught you. We cannot say the lesser light is the moon. But together with the Kochavim, it can give light. Okay? So the Yareach is never left alone to give light or to rule the night. It says clearly here that the stars rule the night according to the Torah. However, the moon is allowed to join in that rulership. Notice, the moon is allowed to join in that rulership as it reflects the light of the sun. So it's still the sun and the stars that light the night. The greater light, Genesis, Bereshit 1:14 through 17. The greater light and the lesser light together rule the night. The moon is allowed to join by reflecting the sun. So it's actually the sun shining at night. It's actually the sun shining at night. But through the reflection of the sun on the moon, it's allowed to join the Kochavim at night in tandem. Notice at no point does Psalm 136, verse 9 claim that the moon rules the night. Okay? This is crystal clear. If you need to review this teaching, then so be it. If you need to grab a cup of coffee to review this teaching, whatever you need to do to get this straight, because we have another Torah year coming up in March. And we want to make sure we get Shabbat and all the Moedim and all the feasts, everything decently, simple, decently, and in order. So the night ruler is established as the lesser light, namely the stars. We learned that last week. Not the moon by itself. Remember the biblical rule of first mention. So the first time that the stars are mentioned as ruling the night is right back in Bereshit, the first chapter of Genesis. Now what about Psalm 104 verse 19? Isn't that another verse that proves that the Yareach is supposed to be used? And this is very important. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there. Don't forget, guys, you need to go right to that website, our website, and you need to order your copy of the Restoration Scriptures. Hurry up, because it takes them a while to produce them. You want to get your order in, and you don't want to be left out in the cold, okay? Because they're doing very well. They're selling like hotcakes. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Psalm 104:19. I don't know how we wound up there. Psalm 104:19. Let's go over there. Hallelujah. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. I'm make it a little bigger so you can see it. Psalm 104:19. He created the Yareach, the moon, for Moadim, for appointed times. The Shemesh knows when to get out of the way or when it's going down. So it looks like we're in trouble. It looks like that those who are in the church of the moon may have some kind of justification for their behavior. But I'm going to show you that's absolutely not true. And as I showed you earlier when we were analyzing Psalm 89, verse 37, if you read 35 and 36, it'll tell you it's David's throne that is being spoken of, and it tells you that the sun and the moon are faithful witnesses to David's throne, not to time. We learned that. So text is key. If you take a text out of context, like many of your teachers do, you will wind up living and developing and swimming in a pretext. So in order to avoid falsehood, which is pretext, you must allow the prior verses and the subsequent verses to determine the true meaning of the text. You follow me? Tehillim 104, verse 19. He created the Yareach for Moadim. He created the moon for Moadim. We know that in Leviticus 23 and in Genesis 1, the word for appointed times is Moadim. So folks who follow the moon go, ooh, look. Go to Psalm 104:19. So all the feasts are determined allegedly by the moon. And then some people even take it even further and establish the weekly seventh-day Shabbat by the moon. Because they claim that in Vayikra, Leviticus 23, 1 and 2, it says that these are my Moadim, these are my appointed times. Therefore, the Shabbat, the weekly Shabbat, is the first appointed times, and therefore it also must be determined by the moon. Allegedly, that's how they get lunar Shabbat, by twisting in a gross misunderstanding of Psalm 104, verse 19. But let's see what Psalm 104, verse 19 really says. He created the Yareach, the moon, for feasts, for appointed times. So the Messianic movement and those who think they know more than Enoch, and they think they know more than Moses, and they think they know more than Noah, and they think they know more than the righteous angels, and they think that they know more than the Zadokite priesthood, just because they have a Facebook page, and they think they know more than all these authorized men. Let me tell you, they were authorized. King Jimmy was not authorized. Whatever version and perversion, he was not authorized. These are men who were authorized to teach, live, and proclaim the times of Yahuwah. And so you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to come out of the church of the moon to follow these men who were authorized, who were in fact authorized. Stop being deceived and get under the covering of those who were authorized to teach you this. Now, it says the sun knows when to get out of the way for the moon. That's true. The Shemesh knows when it goes down. It knows. Now, verse 20 and 21 will declare to us that the Moadim, or the appointed times that the moon has been assigned for, has absolutely nothing to do with Passover, has absolutely nothing to do with the 7-day Shabbat, has absolutely nothing to do with the Feast of Unleavened Bread, has absolutely nothing to do with the Feast of Tabernacles, has absolutely nothing to do with the restored feasts of new wine, new oil, and wood. Yahuwah reigns from the wood. These 3 feasts that Yahweh has used this ministry, among others, to restore those Moadim are never determined by the moon. The sun goes down and the moon comes out at least 2 or 3 weeks a month. Let's say that again. The sun goes down, Psalm 104:19. The moon can come out at least 2 or 3 weeks a year. And during those times when the moon is seen, he makes darkness and night, despite the so-called light of the moon, verse 20. The moon brings darkness at night. So Yahweh says, I give you the moon, and the Shemesh knows it's setting, it knows it's going down, but the moon brings darkness. But it does bring the appointed times for all the beasts of the forest who creep. Are you a creep? Are you a creep? English creep means a disgusting piece of vermin. Or are you a child of Yahweh? Are you a prince? Are you a Kohen Leolam Darche Malki Tzedek? Who are you? What are you? If you're an animal and you're crawling and you're creeping on the earth like the serpent, then the moon is for you. Because when the moon comes out, it's light, it's darkness, it's night, it's not light. And when the moon comes out, it is the signal for the appointed time, the Hebrew word for a hunting season, for the night creatures, and for the appointed times of Yahuwah is the same. I'll say that again. The Hebrew word for the appointed times of the commonwealth of Israel, meaning all born-again believers who desire to follow Torah and be on the straight and narrow path, as opposed to the religious path, which is wide and leads to destruction, they follow the light. But the night creatures, the creeps, the creepy crawlers and creepy things of the night, they wait for the moon. That's right. They wait for the Yareach to give them the appointed time so that the young lions can catch their prey, so that the creepy crawlers and the young lions of the night can get their food as they are predators. Are you a predator? Are you a creep? Friends, the moon is a sign for hunting by night by the creatures of the night before the sunrise, because when the moon goes down and the sun goes up, the sun is our sign. He gave the sun as for otot. These verses that everyone's going to quote to you to convince you to stay in the church of the rabbinical calendar, the solar-lunar calendar, anything that is a hybrid, solar-lunar, you should know right away, Nephilim. Who were the Nephilim? Who were the Zimzumim? Who were the Giborim? They were a mixture of seed. They were the seed of the Edim, the watchers, who established cities of perversion. That's why the Hebrew word for city is Ir. and the Hebrew word for many cities is Irim. So the watchers, the Irim, or interestingly in Latin, the Gregori, where we get the Gregorian calendar, which is based. Well, it's really messed up, but it does use the moon as well. But they claim solar. But it was designed by the Gregori. See, the rabbinical calendar was designed by demons, and the Christian calendar was designed by the Gregori. And look up that word for the fallen watchers who did not keep their first estate according to the book of Jude. Okay? And went down and took wives that were married to men, each one wife. Okay? The book of Enoch is clear. The fallen watchers of the Gregori, they took one wife. One. Okay? The righteous practice plural marriage. But these fallen demons took one to split families. Let's not go into that today. That's a whole different topic. So the young lions wait for the sun to go down so the moon can come out at least three weeks a month so they can see what their season is to hunt. These verses have zero to do with human beings. I'll say that again. Think about it. Come on, man. Wake up. Grow up. Share this video. How important is it for you? The first chapter of the book of the Torah talks about times and seasons. The first thing Moses tells us once we're about to leave Egypt is how to tell times and seasons. Even before the Exodus, the last thing Moshe is being instructed before the Exodus is once you get out, because you're going to get out tonight. The armies of Israel are going to leave Mitzrayim this night. Here's how you start telling time and show up at the right time. So it's important. He gives it right to us in the beginning of the Torah, right to us at the beginning of the Exodus. These are important things. I'm sharing with you and pleading with you in the hope that you will be willing to cleanse your mind by the washing of water by the word of Yahuwah. They twist these scriptures. All of those who have you practicing the moon, whether it's solar or lunar, which is forbidden according to the Torah principle of Kilaim, the mixing of things. Okay? It's like mixing sex and demonic worship and having orgies in honor of demons, inviting demons to participate in the orgy. No, sex is between a man and his wife, to be kadosh before Yahuwah, to enjoy each other and to be faithful to each other so that they don't engage in unfaithfulness, and to raise up righteous zera, seed, for the next and the next and the next and the next generation. Dor ledor, should Yahusha tarry. So the young lions wait for the appointed times that the moon gives them to seek food as predators for male. Brothers and sisters, we are not predators. This misunderstanding has been a major erroneous assumption that somehow, in some strange way, they refer to the feasts of Yahweh. And they certainly do not. It appears that we're going to, I want to keep these teachings short so they're easy to upload and they're easy to review, okay? So I'm going to come back, Yah willing, next time for another Turtleside chat. Turtleside chats are back, and we're going to analyze Psalm 81, verse 4. That's a very, very controversial scripture that supposedly proves another reference to the moon, that we are supposed to tell the feasts in the appointed times according to the moon, okay? And this is another important teaching right here you'll see on our page that we recommend to everyone. The Torah week versus the modern week. Unfortunately, they're not the same. So until next time, we love you. We praise Yahuwah that you have joined us for another Turtleside chat. May Yahuwah be blessed. May Yahuwah be praised with all that we do and all that we say. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. He is an awesome. welcome to another Turtleside chat.